Good morning, JB.
Good morning. Yeah, I almost didn't make it. It was a close call there, I think. Some of the college kids came over late.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Goodness me. Okay, listen, I'm going to bail us out here because we were running a couple minutes late, but I think we're going to start out here with our friends at Hope, and they continue to put out quality content. And, Thanksgiving was yesterday, obviously. We got 7 inches of snow up here, which was a disaster. 7. It was supposed to be 1. And so, we'll just leave it at that. Let's see what Hope is thankful for, and we got a little bit more on this as well coming after this video. Here we go.
I'm thankful for my family and my teammates.
For my family, our players, and our coaches. They are awesome.
All my family and my girlfriend.
Family, especially my mom, dad, and my brother.
My parents.
For my whole family.
My whole family, but specifically my grandpa.
For my family, including my mother and father, as well as my closest friends, like Ben Wollman.
For my family and this team.
For my mom, my dad, my family, this team, and my friends. For my family and my girlfriend. My family. Marcello, Giancarlo, Cecilia, my mom and dad.
For all of my great friends. For my family and friends and football.
For my teammates. For my family.
My family.
My family, my mom, my dad, my 3 sisters, and my girlfriend Jamie, because they're awesome.
I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for my girlfriend Stella. I'm thankful for my dog. Food, pizza. I'm thankful for my family and friends.
Family, friends, and home college.
My family.
My family as well. Love you guys.
My family. Family, friends, football.
Football and my family.
Owen Graham. For my parents, friends, family, play football right now.
Thankful for Hope College. All the people here. Amazing place. I'm thankful for my family, my mother, Bob Haveman. I'm thankful for Hope College football program. Really great. I'm thankful for Sam Cochran. I'm even more thankful for what he's had.
I'm thankful for Sam's fresh haircut.
We're going to say 2 dogs, Monty and Bo.
I have to say the family.
For all my friends and family, especially the ones I've met here at Hope.
For my family and my friends.
For my family and friends.
For my family and friends, and especially my girlfriend.
Family.
Thankful for my mom. My mom. Zach Trainer.
Eric Bio, Mariah Supanowski.
Everybody
Zach
here.
Trainer, there it is. Had to be Zach. There it is.
Okay, so we've got a lot of Zach Trainer love on this show over the last couple weeks with this. We had to dig a little deeper here about who the hell is Zach Trainer. And so let's get into it here, okay? Because it's a little fitting, actually, on the show. I'll explain why in a second. Zach Trainer, I mean, you want to talk about a square jaw. That is the squarest jaw I've seen in a while. He was a transfer from Eastern Illinois, I believe it was, and decided, he had 3 years eligibility left. And he comes in, and you know what? This is where the transfer portal, I think, works well sometimes. He transfers into Hope, gets a little bit of playing action this season. He was not the main starter, obviously. But, he seems to be fitting in well because his name is all over the place on their social media videos here.
They love
Zach
him.
Trainer.
Yeah.
We've got a transfer portal story probably coming up in this show with one of our guests, and we had to dig into our own archives because I don't know. I think you realized it. Maybe you didn't when you booked our guest from Grove City. That's coming up in a little bit.
Book
actually,
anything without
never book anything.
Realizing.
There's a method to your madness, right? Well, I'll explain a little bit more coming up during the show. Let's get to the other side of the open here, and then we'll talk about something a little bit more serious here. But first off, folks, you're watching Season 17, second round playoff preview show with 32 teams left. I'll be in the huddle. Every week for 4 months, huh? It's feeling it right now. We are 3 months into this season, basically. September's done, October's done. Jeez. November is basically done tomorrow. November 30th will be the time. Yeah, just trust me on this. And so, look, JB, we got some great games coming up, but I want to first pay homage to our friends Greg and Pat on around the nation, especially Pat. We seem to have this ongoing feud with the Logan Hansen stuff and everything else, and our friends at Third Division are, always lighting a fire under us in that whole thing. Okay,
poking at you.
Yeah, it's a cute little subplot that we've got going on around here, I guess. But they had a great interview with our friend Mike Italius, Coach Gutt over at Catholic.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and Coach Gutt and you and I have been in contact throughout the season. We didn't obviously want to, push too much of what was going on with him out of, a little bit of loyalty toward the secrecy of some of the stuff that needs to be a little bit more undisclosed out there. But he kind of opened up the playbook on the whole thing on Around the Nation, number 370. Yeah. And so go out and listen to that if you haven't already. Coach Spencer was there too, some other coaches with what they're thankful for. But Coach Gutt, we love you, man. We wish you nothing but the best in this off season. It sounds like you've got some great care, and keep fighting so we can cover you. I can get you in a post game and just like old times type of situation there. So fuck cancer. I'll say it out loud. Fuck cancer.
Yeah. No. I talked to my mother-in-law yesterday, and she's in a battle right now, and it's not going great. We're hoping for the best, but this whole thing sometimes can be just not fair.
No, it's not. Okay, what is fair or fairer here is we got some playoffs and some great games at that. So let's take a look here at our second round action. This is getting strange for us too, because this is just uncharted territory with, having 16 games in the second round, 32 teams had to celebrate Thanksgiving together. That's never happened before. We got a guest in the wings that'll tell us a little bit about how that went for his team and everything coming up. But let's take a look at these games first on the screen. Upper left, lacrosse at St. John's. We talked about how tough a game that is when you look at, it's supposed to be a 1 versus 8A, 8B thing. Yeah, not so much, okay? Lacrosse is not your typical 8A, 8B team. No. Hobart and Susquehanna, you representing there with your hat and jersey, and I will be representing on your behalf, I guess, tomorrow as I attend that game in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. I will send your best. Platteville at Wartburg battled two very good seeds very early in the playoffs here. Lake Forest, the better team, according to MPI, at Bethel, but they can't host Lake Forest. Endicott at Cortland, a reversal of last year's first-round game in terms of who's hosting. But this is going to be a very tough game. This may be the game of the week on this side of the bracket. I just have a feeling this is going to be a very, very good game. It was last year. Why wouldn't it be? Mass Dartmouth at Springfield battled 10-0s in the first game. In the second round.
Massachusetts State Championship.
Yeah, there you go. Aurora at Hope. We kind of chronicled a little bit about this game in our Crunch Time show on Thursday. Whitworth at North Central. Not many people giving a real chance overall to Whitworth, but maybe they surprise. Let's continue here. Mary Hardin Baylor at Hardin Simmons. Third stanza of this game. But this one may be the best of the three. I have a funny feeling. Texas Lutheran at Linfield. TLU is going to have to kind of earn a little bit of the respect that they want here. A lot of people question how this whole thing played out with the SCAC, so we'll see. Grove City at Johns Hopkins. More on this game in a moment. Maryville at DePaul. Maryville breaking new ground, and as we said, it's time to play with the house money mentality. Yeah. I think, for them, and maybe they could win this game. Why not? Kings at Salisbury. Salisbury may play into our next discussion, too. Wash and Jeff at Randolph-Macon. Quality game and kind of a pride game here coming up for the Pack, along with a couple others out there, such as Center at Carnegie Mellon. We keep all three Pack teams on the same side of the bracket, you notice there. John Carroll at Mount Union. a rematch also. So 2 rematches on this side of the bracket as well. JB, as I get us ready here real quick to turn us over for our guest here, quick thoughts. How was your Thanksgiving? And, what's your message for everybody out there as we get ready here?
Well, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We had a nice, quiet dinner, some turkey, the usual fixings, and we had some of the children come over, which was nice. And I got to, hang out with my stepson. We played guitar together a little bit. Maybe I had a little too much something. I'll be okay. It happens. Thanksgiving is something where there's a little bit left over. So anyway.
Our guest in the background is giving a wry grin at your discussion about the rye stuff you may have imbibed in. Nonetheless, this is not the first time I've met this person in terms of interviews, and let's just bring him on in.
I think this guy's from my hometown almost, just like right over the hill, literally.
Really? Well, let's see if that's true. We have Caleb Brubaker.
I've got my guest confused.
That'll be later. Yep. This one's from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, I want to say. Caleb Brubaker is joining us, linebacker from Grove City. Yeah, that's true. And Caleb, it says junior. I'm not even sure that's accurate based on class year and everything else, because this isn't your first rodeo. But first off, congratulations, Grove City, and how you doing?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Hope you're doing well.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Thank you. So Caleb and JB, I hope you recognize this fact, because if you didn't, I'm going to blow your mind right now, I think. But Caleb was an interviewee in 2022 in this context with me here at Salisbury. Yes.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yep. Caleb is a transfer from Salisbury. This was the game they beat Christopher Newport to win the NJAC back then. Caleb now looking all dapper in the Grove City gear.
He looks better in red, I'm just going to say. Put it out
Thanks.
There you go. Caleb, kind of talk about your road here, because obviously we can't ignore it. It would seem if we said somebody would do this 5 years ago, go from Salisbury to Grove City, they'd say, why the downgrade? But clearly not a downgrade, and clearly this team has come a long way to merit a player of your caliber transferring over to there. What happened? What led you to this decision ultimately, and how's it going for you?
Yeah, I had a great 2 years at Salisbury to start. Obviously, a pretty awesome sophomore season to kind of shape the football player that I am now. But after an early injury junior year, I got an outside perspective on everything, and I just felt that, I should finish the last 2 years of my football career someone else. So I hopped in the transfer portal, and really right away, didn't see a lot of schools that interested me. And then Grove City called me up pretty much right after their Susquehanna game, after their Cortland game. And right after the phone call, I knew this is where I wanted to go. I knew this is where God was leading me. So that's how I'm here today.
Well, it's definitely been a great move. I know we've called your name at least once or twice in crunch time highlights, making interceptions, some big tackles in big games. You lead the Wolverines on defense with total tackles, and I think sometimes you guys, everyone focuses on the big offensive line, the running game, all this stuff, the quarterback, all that. But tell us a little bit about your defense. You're going up against Hopkins this weekend, probably the best game of the slate, from my opinion. I might be biased about one team, maybe I'm wearing some stuff here, but tell us a little bit about, how you guys are getting ready to play Hopkins.
Hopkins is a very talented football team on every aspect, special teams, offense, and defense. Defensively, we just have the philosophy of doing our 1/11th, doing our job each and every rep. The guys in front of us keep us free, and then we keep the guys behind us free as well. So we're just really keyed up on stopping that run, making them kind of one-dimensional. And, we'll do our part. The plays will come to us as long as we just stick to what we're best at. And we're confident that we'll get moving on to the second round.
guys had an interesting season, to say the least. I covered that 17-10 win versus Carnegie Mellon, and in fact, let's just put it up on the screen right here. The season, 5-0 start, and then W&J, 8-point loss in that game. Tough one, obviously, coming off that high versus Carnegie Mellon, and then you roll off 4 in a row. Case gave you guys a little bit of trouble there at that 30-20 game, but. What did you guys learn in that Washington-Jefferson game that's going to become invaluable in a playoff run starting tomorrow at Johns Hopkins, if you can get that W especially?
Yeah, so pretty much right after the game, Coach Dito just said good. We're going to use this loss as our good, learn from it, fix some things we need to fix, and he's at his playoff mode now. We got 4 more games in the regular season. We got to win out if we want to make the playoffs. So we've been playing the playoffs for 4 weeks now. And we feel pretty confident. We ended the season with some pretty tough opponents, and I think we ended on a good note. So we have some momentum going into the playoffs, and obviously we've learned from our mistakes back in that W&J game. So we're looking forward to these next couple of weeks.
And just to be clear for folks out there, we've covered this with the 11-team league and 10 games in conference this season. It was unlikely for any of the Pac teams to endure 2 losses and get in through MPI in a Pool C bid. So indeed, you're right, and Coach is right, that was a playoff type run you needed after the loss for sure. Go ahead, JB.
Well, you guys are going to be on a run no matter what. I mean, it's going to be on the road either way. And you win, and maybe you go to DePaul, you go somewhere. But tell us a little bit. What was Thanksgiving Day like for the Wolverines? I mean, it's probably your last kind of home game, so to speak. You had the turkey, you had the stuffing, all the other stuff. Tell us a little bit about that and what the future looks like.
Yeah, so I never got the privilege to stay with the team for Thanksgiving, so that was just really awesome. The dining hall did a great job preparing us, some great food, making us feel at home, and we just had some good time and fellowship with the guys, just feeling like we're one big family, and even the coaches brought their family in. We even watched the football game with Coach Dito's son after, so it was a good time. Obviously we missed the family and everything, but we're happy to be here for sure.
You've had, honestly, I think, the privilege of playing for 2 head coaches that I would say are some of the biggest inspirational coaches, at least in the Eastern region. Sherm Wood at Salisbury.
Country, yeah.
And Coach DiDonato at Grove City. Tell us a little bit about these guys and what you've learned from them along the way and how it's made you a better man as you get ready. Again, you've got more eligibility left, and maybe cover that if you want to as to what's the future for you. Or we'll follow up with that. We're going to get you on the record somehow, some way in this interview. But tell us about these guys and what they've taught you about life here, not just football.
Yeah, first off, congrats to Coach Wood at getting the Region 2 Coach of the Year. It's well-deserved. And all the coaches at Salisbury, they were really awesome. Great motivators. They made me the man I am today. As far as Coach Dito, he's more than just a coach to pretty much every guy on this football team. He considers himself a pastor, a mentor, and even a father. He really takes us under his wing. And if you've ever heard him talk, which I'm sure you have, he just puts goosebumps on your skin, gets you ready to run through the wall before each and every game. We play motivated, fast, and free. And both of them are really good guys and, have shaped me into the young man I am today.
Yeah, I know. I love Coach DiDonato with this. Now that he's got the PAC championships and now national championships, which is something you guys are actually, no one would have thought a couple of years ago. We used to call Grove City on our ECAC bowl shows a few years in a row, and it was always exciting. But here you guys are now competing for national championships. What a step up, and you're going to be playing a great team in Hopkins this weekend. I mean, what's the plan from here? I think you guys are getting on the bus in 5 minutes and heading up. When are you guys going to Baltimore?
Yeah, we're heading out around 9:45, so about 20 minutes and we'll be on the road. We're super excited just to have another night in the hotel with each other. This is our first time really having an overnight this year, and my first time having an overnight with the team, obviously, because I wasn't there last year. And we're just super excited to be in a playoff environment. The weather's supposed to be great, and we're hoping to come out on top tomorrow as well.
Okay, I'm following up now. What is next for you, Caleb? Obviously, you want to get through the playoff run, and we get that. But you do have eligibility. I don't know where you are academically at this point, how things work in that transfer scenario. So you are a very good player, and I'm surprised that you didn't get the sniffs from the transfer portal that I would have assumed you would have gotten, although you landed in a great place. So you know what? Everything happens for a reason. God's plan, as I'm sure you would say. But what is going to be the plan, the pathway for you after this season is done?
Yeah, I got one more year left after this, and I'm right where I want to be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I want to continue to compete for PAC and national championships. I got another 2 more semesters of school left, and then I'm done, hopefully. And but I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm home, and I'm excited to go out on the field with these guys for the rest of the year, and then all next year as well.
You forgot brick by brick. I mean, if we're going to throw all the Grove City-isms in there, brick by brick time. Yep, exactly. I got one too, right here, sitting right here.
Nice.
So, yep, our props are always ready here, I guess. JB, go ahead.
Exactly. Well, Caleb, it's been our pleasure to have you on this morning. We wish you well on your trip up to Baltimore. We'll be tuning in to ESPN Plus like the rest of the country, and just want to give you what we do for every student athlete we have on the show, an opportunity for shout outs to any friends, family, old teammates from before, current, after, or whatever. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to say, first off, thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for everything you guys do for Division III football. It's pretty cool having a platform like you guys out there supporting us. Shout out my whole family. Hopefully I see you guys tomorrow. And shout out all my boys back at Salisbury and the coaches. Good luck this week and the upcoming weeks, and hopefully we see you guys in the Final Four.
Yeah, that could happen. I'm looking at the bracket right now.
Yeah, good point. I was just going to say Hopkins is going to be no pushover, obviously, tomorrow. It's one of the best games in the country, and we're actually talking about 2 games
really
today with guests that are kind of the feature second-round games that don't have play-ins involved in the situation. Yours is definitely one of them. Platteville, Wartburg, Springfield, and UMass Dartmouth. I mean, there's some really great games out there, but you guys have definitely one of the best. I wish I could be at 14 different locations all at the same time, maybe 16 even, I should say, and not play favorites.
Yeah, right.
But Caleb, a pleasure again. It's great catching up with you now that you've made that move in your life, and nothing but the best no matter what happens tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Always good to catch up with another Baker, Brew or otherwise.
Caleb Brubaker, junior linebacker. I'll put it in air quotes because he's definitely been around in terms of years, but junior linebacker for Grove City. So JB, I'm going to put back
bad news
on
for the Pack that he's coming back next year.
Yep. So I'm going to put back on the screen here something that we had from a few weeks ago, and I made a little edit or alteration to it, and something I want to track actually as we go through these playoffs, and that is the automatic bids and who is sort of eliminated as automatic bids. Now, there were 8 games last weekend, obviously, and you'll notice that 5 of the 8 came out of Pool A in terms of eliminations. Alfred State in the ECFC, Mount St. Joseph in the HCAC, Barry in the SAA, which is surprising still a little bit as to how the SAA is faring here, Pomona Pitzer in the SCIAC, and Northwestern in the UMAC. And I guess, taking a look at this list, if you had to guess with the 23 remaining Pool A teams, all 23 are going to play this week, how many do you think are going to survive here?
I mean, maybe half. The matchups are intense. I mean, like I said in our last show, almost every game has a top 25 ranked team in it, basically. So, there's really only a couple of games, maybe Carnegie Mellon hosting Center. I mean, that's a pretty obvious mismatch in my opinion. But everything else could go. I mean, DePaul is going to be pretty heavily favored over Maryville, but like you said, the Scots are playing with house money. Everything else, though, Frank, is maybe Linfield, Texas Lutheran is or North Central Whitworth, but everything else is going to be really close.
Yeah, I would say probably a half and half situation too. I mean,
Yeah.
Plattsburgh, Wartburg will take one out definitely. Springfield, UMass Dartmouth will take one out obviously. Lake Forest, North Central, or Lake Forest, North Central. What am I doing here? Lake Forest, Bethel is not that, but let's see. It's Whitworth, North Central set.
Mary Hardin Baylor could take out Hardin Simmons. I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah, we're going to have our predictions coming up in a little bit. Our guest is ready to go. Just going to ask him to kind of lower his head a little bit into his box so that we don't cut him off, and that's perfect. And so I will say right now, he's going to have a lot of duty. There's a backstory a little bit we got to talk about in this game coming up, which is Springfield at UMass Dartmouth. Had the honor of interviewing this man a couple of times after games, and he's a great guest at that. We have Arsen, and so, okay, first things first, Arsen. Set me straight right now. I've heard your name pronounced 30 different ways, and I've pronounced them 29 of those 30 ways, right? Probably. Well, let's let him tell us for sure. The grad fullback from Springfield, whose name is?
Arsen Shtefan.
Okay, so I'm not that far off. It's not conventional, Arsen. Let's not kid ourselves here. But it's a name that we've had to call out multiple times because you are the bowling ball of bowling balls out there for Springfield in that offense. Congratulations to you guys on winning the new MAC. And when you saw the bracket, Arsen, and you got 10-0 versus 10-0, and maybe UMass Dartmouth doesn't get the respect level that other teams at 10-0 would get, but obviously with Dante Vilas Santos and Angel Sanchez and folks like that, this is not a pushover team. What did you guys think about the 10-0 versus 10-0 situation when you saw it, and how are you feeling about tomorrow's game?
I mean, we're going to take any team head on. At this point in the season, everyone's 0-0 on their record. So any team we got from the from that Sunday draft poll, whatever it was, we're going to be fine with, regardless of who that was. I love where we are in the bracket. So yeah, we're not going to take them easy. We know it's going to be a hard fought game, and we're just excited that it's at home at Stag.
Yeah, and you guys were at home yesterday for Thanksgiving. It's not the first time you guys have been home for Thanksgiving, I think, in the playoffs. Maybe it was. I mean, this new playoff format with the kind of extended everything has changed it up a little bit. But what was that like?
It was awesome getting a little bye week, to rest the body, rest the mind too, get some schoolwork done. And then I was able to go home. I'm home right now. Got to see the family and stuff like that. So it was really nice. I enjoyed it a lot. But now it's time to go, and I feel fresh. So let's get it.
Yeah, I bet.
JB, how soon we forget that 2 years ago, I actually did a live show on Thanksgiving Day at Springfield. Come on now. They've been together for Thanksgiving. When they were going to the second round versus Ithaca, I believe, was that game that year when Ithaca went to the national quarterfinals against North Central. So, Arsen, you have memories of that situation, but things get a little bit interesting, obviously. The SUNY Maritime game was a little bit topsy-turvy, and one of the reasons, obviously, was Jacob Sylvester. He gets injured in that game, and it became the Arsen show to a certain degree. Drew Heenan, obviously, now is backup quarterback, is going to have the duties here. How do you, as kind of the elder statesman, I should say, of the offense, how do you kind of work Drew, work with him to get him ready? Because this is not a simple situation, obviously, and a guy like you is going to have a lot of duties out there, not just running the football, but also kind of being the, keep it calm type guy at all times. So tell us how you worked it at Maritime and how that's going to help what's going to happen tomorrow.
I mean, at Springfield, we practice how we play, so I'm not really worried about how he's going to do on Saturday, or how he did on Saturday, last Saturday, two weeks ago, actually. Sorry. I think he he did amazing. Everyone on the offense, everyone on the entire team has faith in him. I know all of our skill positions on offense are really seniors and grad students. So we're all leaders on that offensive side of the ball. So we all have confidence in him, and I think as we got the bye week and this week to prepare, I think he's just instilled even more confidence in himself and confidence in the entire team that he can get it done.
Well, I'd love to hear that you're home, Arsen. My family actually celebrated Thanksgiving in West Hartford yesterday. There's a little tradition that we do out there, and I'm from Avon, right over the hill from you. Did Conard have a Thanksgiving Day game yesterday that you got to go check out? That's your high school, right?
Yeah, they actually play the week before Thanksgiving, so they play on the Saturday. So I got to go watch. Nice. My brother's a senior, so I got to go walk out with him, which was pretty nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, and so wherever this thing turns out, I mean, maybe hopefully you guys will go on a run here. But once football is said and done, at least at college, do you plan to pursue what next? What's you're a grad student. What are you going to use that degree for?
So I'm a sport management major. Right now I'm gonna work the Travelers Championship. It's a golf tournament in Cromwell, Connecticut, and then hopefully, if I don't get a full-time job from that or something, I have a internship lined up in the summer. But besides that, I'm not really sure. I don't really know what I want to do right now.
Me neither, man. It's okay. It takes a while.
but I'm sure it'll figure itself out. Yeah.
Listen, Brian McGoffin, our friend, the sports information director at Springfield, he's a good guy to learn from. Dr. Prasan, obviously, athletic director. These are good guys to learn from. So no matter what happens, you always got them to fall back on for advice out there. Let's go back to football for a second here in terms of the season, and we'll put up the results here. And this has been an interesting season in a lot of different ways. You guys have been consistent. You've scored 30-plus in every game. Not many teams out there can say that. And the ones that can are usually the big names out there. Western New England was a tussle to start the season. Could have easily lost that game the way things were going there. And Coast Guard even got 34 up on you guys in a 52-34 battle, and you guys righted the ship against SUNY Maritime, obviously. But, the ebbs and flows of a 10-week season, the injuries that triple option team endures sometimes because of the close contact scenario every play, and Jacob obviously has learned on that one, unfortunately, how that works. How are you guys after this run in terms of injuries and everything else? And I want to learn from you guys because the bye week is new, okay? And we had heard from our friends at DePaul how important it would be because they would come off that Wabash game every year, and then you get so amped up for that game, you forget, 7 days later, here's a playoff game we've got to play suddenly. So how were you guys heading into that bye week, and how important was it to maybe lick your wounds and get things ready for a game like this?
Obviously having the bye week was amazing. I think every team that got a bye week was very excited to have one. I think everyone at this point in the season is either bumped, bruised, injured, hurt, whatever it might be. But I'm sure that bye week for everyone helped. I know it helped me for sure. Just physically, but also like mentally. Like I got a week to prepare, an extra week to prepare my body for this game. And like you said, obviously playing the triple, it's a physical. We bring the physicality every game. So just being able to recover that extra week is huge for everyone on our offense and everyone on our team especially. So
JB, you can go back to back if you don't mind, if I can real quick. The Roach. I want to ask about the Roach. The nickname of your offensive linemen out there and the importance they play ultimately for you guys. I mean, to you, define the Roach and how important has it been for the guys that you've had along the way to lead block for you?
I wouldn't be in the position I am today without all of those guys that have blocked for me my past 4 years here. I mean, they're gritty, they're tough, and they're a little weird, but that they get it done. So I love them for it, and I hope. I mean, I have 110% confidence that they'll get it done every other week from here on out.
To be an offensive lineman, you have to be weird. I think that's just a prerequisite for what you put yourself through in front of that line, and defensive linemen for that matter, but especially the O linemen. Special place in my heart for those guys. JB, go ahead.
So this is a kind of a nice bookend for us because 12 weeks ago we spoke with Aiden Lewin, a guy from your class who's a graduate linebacker. Tell us a little bit about your defense is going to have a tall task. I mean, everyone talks about how tough it is to play against a triple option, but you guys are going against an offense that loves to throw the ball. They spread the field. They've got a great quarterback. I mean, what does Aiden and his group need to do to keep this game from getting out of hand?
I mean, being tenacious, flying to the ball, being tough, being physical. I think our entire team preaches physicality. Physicality is an eraser. And that's what our defense is. They'll fly to the ball. They'll be physical. So I think whatever UMass Dartmouth brings at us, they'll be prepared. We have a great defensive coordinator. Sorry, and I think they're going to be 100% prepared, especially with the bye week. So I'm definitely really confident in them, and I know they'll get the job done for us.
And I'll apologize now for any background noise you're going to hear. We're plowing out from 7 inches of snow over here, about 90 minutes away from you guys in Ballston Spa, New York. You guys clearly didn't get nearly what we got is from the reaction you have on your face, so consider yourself lucky. It's supposed to be 41 degrees last I checked tomorrow in Springfield. You had 35 in Susquehanna at Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. I don't know how that works exactly. The further south you go, it's supposed to get warmer, but okay, we'll just go with it. But it's going to be nice football weather for sure for you guys here. Arsen, a pleasure as always. However, you know how this works. We give you a chance for shout-outs, any family, friends, teammates, etc. Arsen Shtefan, at least this is as close as I'm going to get to it, Arsen. The floor is yours for shout-outs.
I first want to thank you guys for all your support, your constant support all season. So I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate my family. Thank you for, keeping up with me, going to all of my games. Gianna, my girlfriend, shout out. And then my teammates, my coaches, everyone. Let's get it Saturday. Let's go.
Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a great set of people behind you, Arsen. And, we have a special soft spot for Dante on UMass Dartmouth, so we can't pick favorites on this one for sure. But we want to see a nice, clean game with no injuries, honestly, for both of these teams. Because clearly, look, Endicott can win the game against Cortland. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And so, whoever you're going to face is going to be a tough team. And I'd love to see the teams that are going at it be at their fullest potential for some great football at that. So, Arsen, thanks again for joining us, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much, guys.
West Hartford in the house. Love it.
Yes, sir. Arsen, a great representative for his school. It's tough, JB. I mean, you see Jacob Sylvester go down. He's been just a lifeblood for that offense all season long. Got to interview him twice this season. And it is so heartbreaking personally to see a guy like him not be able to finish the job ultimately this season. But I'm going to say it flat out, if not for him, they wouldn't be in the position they're in. That Western New England game would have really probably went differently earlier on in the season. And some of the other games may not have given them the momentum they needed to win those games ultimately, even if the scoreboard was a little bit different. So. But you've heard the bye week discussed. You've heard both of our guests talk about the bye week. What is your view now? And for a team like Endicott that, yes, had a walk-in-the-park type game against Alfred State last week, the fact they still had to play the game and not get that bye, it just sounds to me as we discuss this stuff that Endicott really did get screwed beyond belief because they deserve that opportunity to lick the wounds, heal up,
rest
watch some film in a different way and everything else. I mean, what is your view right now on how this influences now the playoffs if we're going to keep this system with 40 teams?
Yeah, I know. It reminds me of the time when, Ali Marpet was in the NFL, and he would talk about like how important the bye week, the rest, basically the self-care that you had to do after a game. Like these guys beat the living hell out of each other for 3 hours on a Saturday, and when you add that up times 10 weeks in a row or whatever, it takes a toll. So having that extra week off, not only for your physical well-being but your mental well-being of not getting hit or having to hit people is a big deal. So it's definitely going to be an advantage. And there's going to be teams, when you look at certain places in the bracket of real physical, I'm thinking about like Carnegie Mellon, for instance. They play a very physical style of defense. They have some of the toughest linebackers out there. The fact that they get a week off to really recharge before they even start playing football games, and they get a draw like they have, it's not hard to imagine a team like the Tartans making a run to the Final Four, given this bye week and this reset that they get. And there's going to be other teams that we'll see, like North Central and others that have probably take advantage of this downtime. North Central basically has had like the last month off. If you look at the teams that they played at the back end of their schedule, they haven't really been challenged. So, this is how playoff runs happen. You're healthy, everything sort of clicks, and you just knock out 4 or 5 games, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, again, the importance. John Carroll. Let's look at John Carroll against Mount Union.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to give John Carroll probably the nod to beat Mount Union tomorrow. But on the flip side, Mount Union got a week to lick their wounds. John Carroll didn't. Again, walk in the park type scoring game, but Felter looked like he may have been in that position here after how many straight weeks. Yeah. Yeah, he's banged up with the knee and everything else. There's no secret there. And so compared to having a week to let that kind of heal up and get ready and everything else, he had to go out there and play, and actually play despite injury in that first quarter that we saw. And people didn't think he was going to be coming back out necessarily. And, the rest of the story is what it is. Great quarterback, but boy, I bet you he would have loved that week off if he could have gotten it with his team. And now I wonder how it affects him. We're going to predict right now, so maybe that comes up in our discussion about these predictions. So you lead by 5. This is not insurmountable. I have come back from worse over the years. Last year, in fact, I think we were kind of right in the same type of position. Did. We got 16 games to predict. Okay, we got 10 minutes on the clock. That's not right. Hold on, we're bumping that up to 12.
16.
Come on. What's wrong with me? 12. There we go.
Okay.
Well, you still got to be a little faster. I think there's some games that are probably going to be a little bit easier than others on this. So you're going to start today. We're going to start the music up. I'll put the first game. We're going to go basically upper left, upper right, lower right in that order, and you'll see it on the top of the screen there. And JB, the clock starts now.
Wow. Well, if you're a Johnny's fan, you can't be happy about this draw. The Eagles bring so much to the table. They've got a great offense and defense, size, strength. They're going to bring everything to Minnesota this weekend, and it's going to be a tough out. But you got a quarterback like Severson, and that's he's front runner for the Gagliardi Trophy for a reason. I think this is going to be a close game, but the Johnnies, with that Johnny magic at home, will pull it out late, 35-28.
I should thank, by the way, D3Football.com for agreeing to, furlough or whatever you want to call it, picks, quick hits until after our show from here on out, so that we're not cannibalizing this. Thanks to Greg and Pat for working with us on that as well. St. John's is my pick to win the whole thing right now. Believe it or not, I've said this. And this, though, is the first real challenge. Yeah, if I haven't, there it is, okay? They're playing different type of football right now. Aaron Severson is that guy, and as long as he stays healthy, they've got this 37-20 over Lacrosse is my prediction. And I'll tell you, whoever put them into that 8A, 8B deserves a special place in hell for that, ultimately. To protect, you're not protecting the 1 seed here. The overall number 1 seed did not get protected. Hobart at Susquehanna.
No, screwed.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of that's a stance that we've been saying a lot about these playoffs and how things got set. You had one job, committee, one job. That was set up the damn bracket fairly and without screwing people over in NCAA with the travel budget, and you kind of failed in certain ways, guys. Just got to remind you. Susquehanna at Hobart, or Hobart Susquehanna, I should say. Susquehanna, I think, has just an edge here. Josh Ehrlich is playing still lights out football, better than last year, in fact. 34-17, Susquehanna wins this game.
Well, Hobart hasn't allowed more than 21 points to anybody all season, and the only reason they allowed 21 to RPI was because it was week 9 and in the second half, and they were just beat up. I think that I'm going to be in the small minority that will pick my alma mater to win this game, 24-21. I'm going to hold out hope. 2-3 years in a row, Susquehanna at home, losing in the playoffs seems to be a thing. We'll see what happens. I hope the Hobart Statesmen win, but if they don't, I won't be surprised. Should be a great game.
Holding out hope. They're coming up later, though, so not quite yet.
Yeah, exactly.
As my mouse fails to work here for some reason, we're going to go Plattsburgh. Yes, the new Plattsburgh game.
Plattsburgh, yes. I've heard of them. Yeah, they're good.
Texas of Trinity, or Texas of Trinity too. Platteville at Wartburg. Go.
Yeah. The ARC just hasn't been as strong as it was in prior years. This is not the Wartburg team of yet last season, so I think Platteville has an advantage here with guys like Priami and Stair. Too much offense for the Pioneers, so I'll take Platteville to win this one 35-21.
We got a little closer. I still think Wartburg is an extraordinarily good team, but I just think there's an edge here by Platteville having the WEAC schedule, having the week off. They needed that week off. If any team in this batch needed a week off, it's Platteville, honestly. 27-23 is the final. I have Platteville winning. Next up, it's going to be Bethel hosting Lake Forest. And yes, we talked about A.J. Jackson and his effects on life, but Bethel's having some good fortune right now in their football. 35-21, Bethel wins this game.
Yeah, their defense with that DeWall kid at linebacker, I think the Royals will win this one. Cooper Drews probably will throw the ball 50 times. I'll take the Royals to win, like 38-28.
I think this is an extraordinary game coming up here on our screen right now. Endicott at Cortland. Part of me would want to go there, but I feel like I'm going to be hitting the winner of this game's next game or some game thereafter. Yeah. So that's why we kind of wanted to shake it up a little bit. But this is a game right here for sure. You go first.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against the champs, but if there's a team that could maybe pull it off, is this Endicott team. They are tested. They went to Texas. They went toe-to-toe with Hardin Simmons, almost won that game. But, it's hard. Zach Boys, man, whenever you need a first down, this guy can just tuck and run, and he's like the Brett Favre of D3. I'll take the Dragons, but this is going to be a close call, like a 31-27 kind of game.
I've got a 28-27 for the same exact reasons, And again, really great job protecting the top seed in this bracket, guys. Really good work. And then what comes later possibly too. Quality work on the bracket. Come on. The more I look at it, the more the lazy bracketing principle you'd espouse back when it just comes
lazy.
True.
That was the word, yeah.
It is lazy bracketing.
Really lazy.
I'm sorry. It is a lot of this was not necessary in different ways. Springfield at UMass Dartmouth. Dante, I love you. This is not in any way, shape, or form against you, but Springfield's just a special team this season. Jacob Sylvester, obviously not being there, changes things up a little bit. But Drew Heenan has at least gotten that experience in the Maritime game when he went down. Sylvester went down in that game. 28-17, Springfield wins.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a triple option clinic where they just grind it out and they'll get away with a close one, like 35-28.
Another one of our tough games here. Roy at Hope, go ahead.
Man, I was hoping you had to pick this one first. This is one of the games that I have no. When I saw what Hope did this season, I thought they had a potential to be a Final Four team, but this draw is just brutal. And the Spartans have been clicking. You saw them in week 1 or week 2, I guess it was, and so I'll give the Dutchman a shot here, but. I mean, Aurora could easily win this game. It's going to be close. I'll say like 31-30. Hope. Just, try to see what I'll hope that I'm right.
Listen, Aurora, if you win this game, you're going to have to put out some quality video content to replace Hope's video content for us on the show. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, right.
Hope wins. Hope is a different team than they were in week 2, flat out. Okay, 40-27. Okay. Aurora wins over Hope. North Central.
You said Aurora winning, or
yeah? I'm sorry. Did I say it backwards? Aurora is a different team from what we saw in week 2. Aurora wins 40-27.
Okay.
You know, I caught myself as I'm saying it, but I thought maybe I was hearing things in my own head, which is not unusual. Whitworth at North Central is next up, and I'm not going to belabor this so that we can save some clock time here at this point. 47-10, North Central wins.
That sounds right. Yeah. North Central Cardinals all the way. 56-7.
Wow, that's pretty tough. Upper right, Mary Hardin Baylor, Hardin Simmons. JB, you've said some things about this game. You said some things about Hardin Simmons and Mary Hardin Baylor and how this can play out. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna stick with the Cowboys. They've managed to win the last 2 games, even though the Crusaders have found their quarterback for the future. I still feel like the Cowboys are probably a Final Four caliber team, and so I'm going to hitch my wagon to them, 35-28.
31-30, Hardin Simmons. I think you're right. Mary Hardin Baylor didn't find Jake Wright. Jake Wright's injury sort of dissipated enough that he could come back and start some late games this season. So, again, a little bit different now that he's got some tough games under his belt like last week's, but I just give a slight edge to Hardin Simmons, 31-30. Next up in this, it's Texas Lutheran at Linfield. Boy, going first or second here actually affected this. I didn't realize how tough it was going to be on you to go first all the time on some of these games. But Linfield, I apologize, okay? Next week we'll shake it up. Linfield wins this game 37-14 over Texas Lutheran.
Yeah, Wildcats are going to win this one big. 35-14 sounds good.
Have fun with this one. Grove City at Johns Hopkins, you go first.
So a couple of years ago, this Hopkins would have been the easy pick here, but it's funny, actually, Grove City in all the models and predictions things I've seen are the favorites here by a touchdown or more, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to stick with the Pack. I think the Wolverines are a team to beat in this tournament. And so, we'll call it 31-21 Wolverines.
27-24 Wolverines. Same reasoning. So we're on the same page here. Okay, this was a little tougher. Now I'll have to go first. Maryville at DePaul. Look, that Wabash result against Hanover tells me a little bit that the NCAC could be an interesting place in terms of strength in DePaul. Obviously, with their game against Wabash the previous week. But I also think Wabash was in a letdown mode in heading into that Open Doors Bowl game. So I'm going to still say DePaul wins this game 30-20 over Maryville.
I know we've sort of, poked Logan Hansen here and there over the season, but I will say the one thing that he posted that I agree with is that this DePaul team could be a Final Four caliber team, and I agree with that. So I take the Tigers 37-14 in this one.
Okay. With only a minute left on the clock, we're obviously going to go into overtime on this one. Kings at Salisbury. You start this one.
Salisbury. I think this spread triple option offense is going to take off, especially with the bye week. I'll take Salisbury to win 42-21.
47-13. Salisbury wins this game. Okay, I have to start a tough one on this one. W&J at Randolph-Macon, just barely fitting into her upper bug there.
Yep.
There's one guy on Twitter that's always telling us how much I hate the Pack. I'm a Pack hater, and
of course.
I'm garbage for this and everything else. Yet we have one of our best relationships with the conference with the Pack folks. But okay, this is one of those games where you're tempted to pick Randolph-Macon because I don't know what to think of the Pack because again we don't have any games to utilize outside conference to tell us if maybe they're up, maybe they're down. We only have basically those 10 games they play against each other, for each team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on a little bit of thought that Mike Sirianni is a very adept head coach in moments like these. And in this game, Coach Aruza, nothing against you on this, but Sirianni, I think, has some good possibilities on that field in terms of his talent that will win this game 33-24. W&J wins the game 33-24.
Yep. No, I think the Presidents will also carry this one away. It'll be a close call, but like a 31-27 type of deal. Pugh is just too good of a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe I should pick the next game. There we go. Another Pack game, though. Center at Carnegie Mellon. And you'll start this one.
Tartans early and often 42-7.
38-10, same end result. John Carroll at Mount Union. Let's see. This is me, huh? I said it earlier. I think having the week off changes everything for Mount Union. If they had to play 2 last week, I might have had a different opinion on this game. 37-27, Mount Union wins.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a part of me that wants to pick the Blue Streaks just to upset the apple cart, but we already disagreed on 2 things. You'll probably be 3 games behind me when this is said and done. So I'll play the favorite here, the home team, Purple Raiders. They'll figure out a way to pull it out late, 28-21.
And that is 16 picks out there, and for sure.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
yep.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, it is. There you go.
There it is. Let's get the games back on the screen here. And we've got La Crosse at St. John's at 1 p.m., Hobart at Susquehanna at noon, Platteville at Wartburg 1 p.m., Lake Forest at Bethel 1 p.m. So mainly the Midwest bracket there, you call that. Endicott at Cortland, noon. UMass Dartmouth at Springfield, noon. Aurora at Hope,
Battle
noon.
of Massachusetts.
Yeah, on that second game, yep. And Whitworth at North Central, 1 p.m. So not quite all one region there for that bracket. Then we switch over here. Mary Hardin Baylor at Hardin Simmons at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Mostly Neuters.
Texas Lutheran at Linfield, 3 p.m. Eastern. So the island teams will eventually meet up there. Grove City, Johns Hopkins, noon. Maryville at DePaul, noon. Kings at Salisbury, noon. W&J Randolph-Macon, noon. Center at Carnegie Mellon, noon. John Carroll at Mount Union, noon. We have way too many games kicking off at noon this year. Usually there's more balance. Yep. It's 10-5-1, as we said on our slide earlier. And so that just is a little bit disappointing. I will be at one of the 10 noon games and then get maybe a little bit of a dessert mode at the 1 p.m. game if I can get back in my car in time after interviews or post-game press conference, I should say. But JB, this should be interesting. It's been a while since we've had absolute carnage in a round of 32. And you know what? With the last year that COVID affects things, maybe this is the way that COVID kind of does its sign-off with Division III football. And we have a bunch of fifth years and whatnot creating chaos inside this bracket some way, somehow. Let's see what happens. Again, we'll have highlights and everything else next week on Crunch Time. I will be at Hobart at Susquehanna. I might have a little bit of early Twitter action going on there as well, so stay tuned for that. And JB
Maybe
will be tweeting. Yes, perhaps we will. But JB will be tweeting about all the games, obviously, with those 10 games in that first slot. That's where the Bracket Blitz used to be fun, but hey, ESPN Plus had to go ruin that on us as well, so it is what it is now. So I'll go catch my 20th game of the season in Selinsgrove, revisit since I was there earlier in the season. JB, thank you as always. Folks, continue having a great Thanksgiving weekend and be safe out there on your travels.